Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rebecca Namaganda from Data Care. I welcome you to today's session. I see we are few, but I believe most of our colleagues are about to join us. So today we're going to be looking at an introduction to C#. It's going to be presented by Ndejje. And just a few things to note. We are going to be sharing two links, one for registration to show that you attended this session, and another is for feedback about this session. For those that won't be able to get the link, but I'm going to put it in the chat, we'll have to redistribute it on other channels. Those that can't do the link can type in their names in the chat, but we prefer the link. So without further wasting of time, let me invite Derek to start the session.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I welcome you on today's mentorship sessions. As we dive into the details of C#, just want to share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
You can see my screen now?
Yes, sure.
You can see? Yes, today we shall be diving deep into the detailed C# programming. We shall look at version control, which is a requirement in implementing software development in today's world, and we shall do a project setup using the GitHub. Now, a little bit about me. My name is Ndejje. I have a bachelor's degree of computer science from Ndejje University. I work at Data Care as a junior assistant developer. So I would like to let you people that this is not a new partnership between Ndejje University and Data Care. It has been happening. I can testify that while I was a student at Ndejje University, we attended these sessions, and they are really good, and they helped us. They guided us through the journey of becoming a software developer or a software engineer in the near future. As of now, I'm working as a junior assistant developer at Data Care. So those sessions were valuable. So I would call upon everyone to attend if at all you're offering a degree or a diploma in IT, computer science, software engineering at Ndejje University. These sessions are essential for you. So please, you should be joining them so that you can be guided by industrial professionals who are already working in the field of software development. Now we shall do some programming. So we shall do some programming, and these are some of the session requirements. We shared them before, and I think you needed to do your development environment setup. You needed the Windows operating system, Mac OS or Linux. You needed to download the .NET SDK. You need at least to have an integrated development environment, that is the IDE, either Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. And you needed to have installed a version control system on your machine, that is Git. And you have to make sure that you have an active internet connection, because we shall be pushing whatever we've written in the session to GitHub repository. Now let us begin by talking about the C# programming language. C# is versatile and powerful language that it is widely used in various types of applications, from desktop to web. You can do mobile programming in C#, and you can develop games in C#. And talking about some of the few advantages or the key advantages of using C#, it's the integration with the .NET framework. This framework provides developers with a richer set of libraries and tools which you can use to build robust and scalable applications. Also, I would like to let you know that C# is like any other C-style languages such as C, C++, and Java. And since our audience are the university there, you always focus on writing C. You always do some little bit of C# in client server programming. That is, I think, year 3 first semester. Then you always do object-oriented programming. That is year 2, semester 1. So I'm sure that I'm talking to the right audience as of now, because you have some of the principles in those languages. The C, somehow you've touched about the C++, and some you have some knowledge about the C#. So today we shall be writing some basic syntax of the C# programming. Well, C# is not different from other programming languages. You know, the syntax remains the same. We always use the data types, the variables, those basic principles of programming, declaring and initializing a variable. If at all you've learned some object-oriented programming, we always talk about objects, classes, and so many other things. Well, C, I would like to let you know that C is heavily used in industries, various industries, let's say finance, the gaming industry, the web development, many systems running on C architecture. And I think it is a valuable skills if at all you're passionate for the software development industry. I think learning C is one of the valuable skill you will need. Now, in our sessions today, we shall talk about data types, variables. So I would like to let you know that C has inbuilt data types, variables. We shall familiarize ourselves with the classes, the built-in classes in C, the functions, such as specifically we shall be focusing on the built-in classes and functions, but later on, if time allows us, we shall also build a custom method which we can use in one of our applications. We shall also look at the built-in functions in C. We shall look at the data structures used in C, such as the arrays, the lists, and the dictionaries. We shall also look at the built-in control structures, such as the if-else statements, the for loops, and the while loops. We shall also look at how we can handle our error handling. C provides us with some error handling methods. We shall see the try and catch, we shall see the flow, and we shall see the finally, if at all time allows us to write it in our code base. Now, we prepared a practical exercise which we are going to work on together. And it is just creating a simple console application for a track loading application. And this, I would like to let you know, this will be your final project at the end of these sessions. So whatever knowledge you gather in these sessions will help you to come up with a well-structured or a well-structured application, which will present to us at the end of these sessions. we are going to build a console application, and it will allow users to input the weight and the destination of each truck. It will calculate the total weight, and it will display a summary of loaded trucks and their destination. And here we are going to utilize the built-in classes, functions, and methods in C. So I would like to let you know that C is such a powerful programming language, because since it is managed by C, it really helped us. And they have maintained it and made our work kind of easy because of these methods. So we shall see them in detail when you go into code. Now we are going to start writing that practical exercise there. Hope you've prepared your IDEs and that you can together. If not, you can video we shared later we finish it. So now let us dive deep into the coding, writing the code for that simple console application in C programming. Now, I would like we shall start by checking our development environment, and start by checking our development environment. So we have to check whether our systems can allow us to run our applications on the .NETwork SDK if at all you installed it. Let us first check whether we have the .NETwork SDK. You just need to go on your desktop. If you're using Windows 10, you right click and you open Terminal to check the version of the .NETwork SDK you have. SDK means the software development kit. We shall use the keyword in our terminal .net, and we shall use those. Shall say version. So you see on my system I'm running a .NETwork SDK of 8.0.200, but again you can run multiple SDKs versions on your system, and we can check them by writing .NET. Then we say we need a list of SDKs installed on our system, and you see I also have the .NET SDK 5.0.416. So here we can confirm that on my system I've installed the .NETwork, the .NET SDK. So now let us start by creating a project, and as a developer, I think you should familiarize yourself with working with the console. Since we are writing a console application today, I will use more of the terminal. So I'm creating a new project here. I say I need a new folder, which will be like a repository for our project. I can name the folder Ndejje. Section. Then I open the folder. In the folder, I can right click and open the terminal. If at all you're using Windows 10, you can come here at the address bar and you type in CMD to open your terminal. But I'm using Windows 11 and I will use this terminal. Use this terminal. So this when I open my folder in the terminal, you see my path it is used as just a desktop and the Ndejje session. So I'm in that folder. Okay, that folder. Okay, for now I will call it a repository where I want my project to be. So creating a .NET console application, we shall use the following commands. We shall say .NET. The application is console. Shall start with a new keyword because it is a new project. We shall say that the application is a console application, and we shall give it a flag of the name, and we shall call it Ndejje sessions. Then we press enter. You see, now we can see that we've successfully created a console application. We shall use the command cd, and we shall use the tab key to navigate to our new folder, which is the Ndejje sessions, the Ndejje session. You can see that's how I can navigate to that folder. And in that folder, you can clear the terminal because now it is kind of dirty. And we shall use we are going to use the Visual Studio Code editor in these sessions because I believe most of you might have not installed the Visual Studio. So we shall use the Visual Studio Code. So to access the Visual Studio Code here in terminal, you just write code, then space and a dot, and you press enter. So your project will open up in Visual Studio Code. And you see here the sidebar, I see some of the files created for me. And here the file I'm more interested in is the program.cs file. You see here I'm using some Visual Studio Code extensions so they can show me that this is a C# file. So you can see a C and a sharp somewhere there, and the extension of C# file is .cs. Now, if at all you're using the Visual Studio Code, I would recommend that if at all you have an active internet connection, you go into extensions and you install these three. And you install the three extensions. We have the .NET install tool. You can you can get them from the Microsoft official account. Then we have the C#. It is also a useful extension here. Then we have the C dev kit. Those are the three extensions you need to install so that you can get intelligence while working with your code in C using the Visual Studio Code. Then let's go back to our program.cs. Now you see here, when we initialize our project, we got some lines of code. Up there, it is the comment. It is the comment. Hope all of you know what the comment means in programming. So that is a comment. That's how we comment in C#. Then we have this line here on line 2. It is console.writeLine.hello world. So this console, when you hover onto it using the Visual Studio Code, it will tell you what the console is. And here in this instance, the console is a class, and it is a built-in class in C#. And the Visual Studio Code is telling you that it represents the standard input or output and error streams for console applications. And this class can never be inherited if at all you know some OOP principles. Then we have the write line method. This is a method. When you hover onto it, Visual Studio Code tells you it writes a specified string value followed by a line terminator to the standard output stream. So this method will help you to output the string, you see, this is a string. If at all you've learned about data types, and I believe you people have learned the basics of the basic principles of programming. So you know what the strings mean. So this is a string, hello world, and a string, it is inside a double quotations here, and C sharp code, you always have to terminate your statements. So now we would like to know, when we run this code, what happens. So we are going to open our terminal in Visual Studio Code. We can use the control tilde command. You can use the control tilde command to open up the terminal. You see my terminal is here. Then you can run a command .NET run. If at all you've worked with the terminal, installing the, if at all you've worked with other programming languages, let me say the Node, you've interacted with the terminal more often, and it is the same in .NET. You run a .NET run command and you press enter. So when you press enter, you can see that our statement here in the string hello world, it is printed out here. So that means that your program.css file is working and your project is working fine. So you can start writing code to output your desired application you would like to write as a console application. Now let us go back. Let us go back to our use case here, which we are going to use. It is creating a simple. Let me put these things side by side so that we can see very well. We are creating a simple console application for track loading applications. Remember, I've told you this will be the final project you will be presenting to us at the end of these sessions, and so these applications will allow users to input the weight and the destination of each track. Then the console application also has to allow us to calculate the total weight and display the summary of the loaded tracks. So we are going to use the built-in classes, functions, and methods throughout the code, so that you can get a better understanding of what the built-in methods can do, and to appreciate that C is really a very powerful programming language, and it is a skill you need into your software if at all you are in a position or you're passionate about the software development. Now we shall delete what we have in our program.css, and we shall start by writing a class. We shall write a class. I hope all of you people, you've written some classes, because I understand that you've learned some basic principles of programming. You have interacted with the object-oriented programming language design paradigm. So I believe you have some idea of what I'm saying here. So here we shall declare a class. We shall write a class. See, my IntelliSense is working a class, and we shall call it a program class, creating a program. And so in here, we shall write an entry point to our program, and the entry point to our program, we shall say static. We shall use the void, and this main function will be our entry point. Well, not here. And this main will accept two parameters. No, it will accept one parameter, and it will accept a string, a string array, and we shall give a parameter name, arguments. Now here we shall start by writing. We shall start by writing some classes for our track, and we shall initialize. We shall write a constructor for that class. So we come out of our program and we say, I want a class of track. So this class will be representing a track basically, and we shall have, as the requirement says, we need to have the weight and the destination. So we shall declare, shall say public, declare a variable int, and we shall say we need a weight. So here the weight, we've given it a data type of integer because we expect an integer when we are getting the weight. So this property will be declared with an integer data type, and we shall get the value, and we shall set the value we get from that property. Then another property we need, it will be a destination. It will be a string. We shall give it a variable destination, and we shall get the value and set the value. You can ignore these squiggly lines because these running squiggly lines, for now you can ignore them because they are saying that this they are doing some now checks. Now we shall initialize the track class using a constructor. I hope you people have heard what constructors mean. So we shall say this is how we initialize a constructor in C. We shall say public C#. Shall say public track has to inherit the class name. Then we shall enter the properties we've assigned here into our constructor as parameters, and we shall declare an int, and an int will take up the weight. Then we shall also have a string which will take the destination. Then we enter into our constructor and we start initializing. So we shall say weight, the property up there, we shall assign it to a value, the value in the constructor to differentiate the values defined in the constructor. I prefer we use the lowercase of the W so that we can differentiate the weight in here to the weight we've defined in our constructor here. So we assign it to weight and we terminate. Then the destination, and get the destination in the destination property, and we assign it to this destination. So we are done initializing our class using the constructor here. So now we come back to our class up here, and since we are using built-in functions and methods, so here we are going to use a built-in data structure called list, and this list will define a list to store, our track details. So this is how we can do it. We say list. You see my IntelliSense is working, list. Then it will accept the track in here. Then we can give it a variable, say tracks, and we instantiate with instantiate a new list. So now here we are defining a list to store all our track details as they will be entered by the user. We are writing this console application to be interactive with the user, so that user can input information and the system processes and it outputs information according to how we desire our information to be outputted. Then I hope you people you have some knowledge about loops. So in here we shall use the while loop, and it will be, we are going to start writing the functionality to allow our users to input information in our console application. So we shall use the while loop, which is that while, then it expects a Boolean value there, and we shall say, for now, we shall say true. Then we shall start by writing our output to prompt a user to enter the details of the weight and the destination. So in here we are going to use as I've said, we shall be using the built-in classes. So we shall use the console class in C#. And I would like to let you know that C# is consistent. So this is the way you write console in JavaScript is not the way we write console in C#. So we access the console class, and we need, in the console class, we need to access a method, which is the writeLine method. And we've seen it before. So it will accept a string. So this string will be enter track details. We can be more specific on the details we want. We want the weight first, and then we want the destination. And we can continue writing, or because we want this console application to be interactive, so we have to notify our user to tell them, are you done writing in the weight and destination details? If yes, the user, we want to prompt the user to either type stop for the application to finish to give them the output. So we have to let users know that. So we shall tell users, or type, we shall use this type stop to finish. So we want, when our users type in stop into the console application, all the data being entered into the console is then processed, so that we can get the desired output of what our practical exercise says here, because we need to get to display a summary of loaded tracks. Then we need to terminate here. Then we shall now start validating our input. So we shall declare a string, string input. Then we have to read that input. We have to read the input, what the user have inputted into the console application. So this is how we read from the console. We shall say console console class, and we shall use the read line method. See, my IntelliSense is working fine. The read line, and it is a function, so we have to execute it. So that is what we need there for our input. Now we need to start validating on it. So we shall use the if else statements when we are writing some conditions and writing some validations. So here we have the next line to be executed. We shall provide a check. We shall say if get whatever I have in the input, then I need, if at all anything the user types, I would like to convert it to lower, so that to avoid data inconsistencies in there, because sometimes users at times might be stubborn. They might write things which are not required, which might cause the program to break. So I have to convert whatever I get from the input lower. So here to lower, I mean lowercase. I'll use the to lower method here. Then I will execute that. Then I'll use the equivalent operators here. Then, and if at all user input something like stop, this is what I want my application to do. We shall use the switch, some of the switch statements here. We shall just break the application. If at all the user inputs stop, that means the user has instructed our application to stop whatever it is doing. Either it will output the information, the system will display a summary of the loaded tracks if at all information is inputted, and it will return nothing if at all nothing was inputted by the user. So that is what that statement do. Then we have to again validate the input, how users will be entering data into our application. So now here I want to use a space to separate the inputs. Let's say we would like the user to enter the weight, which is 50 here, but then I also need the destination. I'll write the code I'm writing. It will accept the integer of the weight. Then by using a space, it will allow the user to enter the destination. Let's say Ginger or Masaka. So it's what we are going to write next here. So we shall declare an array of string. Then we give it a variable. We shall say these are parts. So this line will be able to differentiate. It will split the input by space to get the weight and destination. So it's a parts, and we say input, get whatever we get in input. Then we shall use the split method. All these are built-in method. That is the powerful of C#. Then we shall say I need to split the input using the space, like that. Then we terminate. So that line will split the input by a space, and you will be getting the user input of weight and destination. Then we have to check whether the input is valid. So, it is in a correct format as we wish it to be. So we shall check from here. We shall use a conditional statement. If we shall say if, then the parts variable will be declared up there. Dot length is not equal to 2. Thing is not working for me here. Let me see. Something is not working for me here. What's dot length? Yeah, I'd put a space in between here, which is non-desired. So that is the check. And if at all it is the first the length is not equal to 2, we would like to output a console.write string, notifying our user that this is an invalid input. This is an invalid input, and we shall input format. We shall tell them, please enter the weight estimation separated by a comma, a space, not a comma. My bad. So here we terminate if at all this condition is if at all this condition is met, we can say continue the application running. Then we shall, if at all we receive correct inputs from the user, we shall have also to look into what inputs have we received. Remember, the weight has to be an integer, and we need to do some checks whether the input of the weight is an integer. So we shall check using we shall say if use int. Here we are checking the weight. Int. We shall use the try pace method for error handling or exception handling. Then we shall validate what we receive from the user. We shall say parts. Then we give it an array of 0, but because we expect the weight to be received and okay, that the input we get is an array, but the weight is on when we go into arrays, the weight will be at the 0 index. Then shall say out, whatever we get out there, it should be int and weight. Okay. I put there. Then we shall enter into that statement. If at all the statement is okay, we shall if at all the statement is not okay, if at all the condition is met, we shall return back to the user and we tell them that whatever you've written in the weight, it is an invalid input. So we shall say invalid weight, and we shall notify a user that please you enter a valid integer because we declared our weight to be an integer. Then we shall continue running our application. Here we don't want it to break. We have to reinstall it to continue to run. Then after that, we shall be required to create to create a new track object and add it to a list. So if at all the information inputted by the user is correct and it is the required information, we have to add it to the track object. You remember we declared a data structure of the list up there when we're starting writing our application here. So we will say get the list, because we named our list as tracks. Then we shall use the .add to add that all the information inputted by the user. We shall say this is a new, give it the track object. Then it should accept the weight. This weight here. This weight here we got from after running an exception check. Then we shall say another object pass, and it will be at index 1. That is the destination. Here we shall terminate of the program. Then this is our while loop. So this while loop will be prompting users to enter track details until they decide to stop. So this line here will, when the user enters stop in the console, they will be stopped. The application will stop. Then now here we need to calculate the total weight of all tracks. So we shall declare a variable for total weight. Total weight, and we shall initialize it to 0. Then we shall run for each statement to check in each iteration, we get from the while loop, and we shall say for each, then we set track, give it a variable here, track, in tracks, the data, in the list, we are checking our list, tracks here. Then we shall enter each loop and we shall say the total weight. We declared up there and initialized to 0 should be equal to track, and we get the weight variable in the track. So now we shall continue writing our application, and we shall output, shall display the summary of loaded tracks, and we shall use the console write method, the inbuilt-in method in C. We shall say console dot write line, and we shall use what we call string interpolation in C. This one will enable us to append dynamic strings to our string here, and we shall use the dollar sign here, and we shall say the summary of the tracks of loaded the tracks. It is one of the output we need. Then we shall get the total number of tracks. Get the total number of tracks. Then and the total number of tracks we can get it. This is what string interpolation does. It will allow you writing dynamic values into your string we shall get it from the variable tracks. Having some issues with this board. I think. Oh, something wrong is going on here. I think this code has to be in the while loop here. I need to get out of the while loop. Something is not working as expected. Here. Yeah. Let me go here. Let me see tracks. I don't know why my interest is not working, but here we would like to count the tracks. My intelligence had some issues, so it was not seeing the tracks. Then another statement we'd like to output is the total weight of tracks. And we shall get it from the total weight here. We'll get it from the total weight here with the for each loop like that. Then we shall, another statement we shall need to output is a destination. Destination. Shall say destination. Then after that, we shall group. I want to get a desired output. We shall be grouping the tracks by destination, and we shall display the data destination wise. So in here we shall use the built-in data structure in C, which is called the dictionary, which accepts two values. So we shall come here and we declare a dictionary, and we shall have a string, and we shall have an integer. Then we shall give the destination a variable like destination weight. We shall initialize that with a new dictionary. Which will accept a string and an integer, and we shall terminate there. Then we shall write for each loop to check the track, to check each track as inputted by user, and we shall say track, shall give it a variable track. Then we shall say we shall get it from the tracks list we have, we declared up there. Then we shall go into that for each loop, and we start writing some requirements, and we shall use a conditional statement if destination weight that contains track destination we shall do some logic there, and we shall say destination weight, then we open one array, track, get the destination, then we shall use these operands to calculate the total track rate at all the destination. When we say enter destination twice, like when I input weight, which is 50 kgs, and the destination is Ginger, and again input weight of 80 kgs and the destination in Ginger, that means we don't want to our code to give us repetitive values, so it will get the destination, and it will just add the weight of the destination. So that's what we are doing now. Then we shall write an else statement just here. Shall say else. This is what I expect destination weight. Then we shall get the track destination, and we shall get the track weight. Chapter 2. Something is over here. No, destination is not working. Remove this. Well, I'm being told that time is against us. Once I will finish up this, to finish up this very fast, time might be against us. Just checking some few things here. So, this.
Derek, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes,
I can hear you.
You missed a closing brace for your if statement. That's the issue.
Closing brace?
Yes, before the else.
Well, thank you, Winnie, for that. Then, After that, we have to display the data destination-wise summary, and we shall use it for each. The variable entry, so in destination, so in we shall check that destination rate. We shall use all, shall also write. So write line. We shall use string interpolation here to be, shall put something like that. Then we shall check the entry, check the key. That's how we call the dictionaries. Shall choose this. We check get the entry name, entry dot value, then we terminate. I see we're having an error somewhere.
Line 50, Derek.
Line 50.
Line 50.
Line 50.
Yeah, an opening brace for the else.
An opening brace. I thought this could work. So I think we are done writing our code based on our. So now we can run to check if at all everything we've written works fine. And to do that, we can use our terminal here. We run. So we can ignore the warnings. The warnings just some checking checks, some null value checks. So here we can, they say we enter something invalid and we press enter. You see here in our terminal, we see this is an invalid input. This enter weight and this nation separated by space. So that value is not acceptable. It's what we did in some of those lines up. So let's say we have a weight of 60 and we have a weight of 60 and the destination is Ginger. We press enter. Checks says that I'm having an invalid integer input. Or maybe on some of the lines here where I was checking for the integer. I have to make sure that the input here, I can see here, I swear I went wrong. I had to check, if not. Sorry, that is my bad, and we can first stop. So we can run it again, run the code again. Then write 60, that is the weight, and the destination is Ginger. Then we write 90, and we say again the destination is Ginger. Then we can input 450 kgs. We shall say the destination is Masaka. Then those are the user inputs. Then we can input that we need the application to stop. So when it stops, it will give you a summary of loaded tracks, the total number of tracks, which were 3 because we had 2 Gingers and 1 Massacre. Then it will calculate the total weight. It will give you the destinations. It will say that Ginger, it has 150 kg of weight. This happens because we entered Ginger twice, but we wrote some code to tell our program that if at all you find Ginger elsewhere, just add the total weight and give us the output. Then massacre, it is 450. So basically, that is the basic syntax of C#, and that's how we write C# code in C#. And next on our menu, we shall commit this code to GitHub. To GitHub as our version control platform. Now we can minimize this. You have to make sure that you've installed Git on your machines. We come to the folder here, the folder which contains our project, which on my computer is this, and we can check if at all we've installed Git on our computers. So we write a command, git version, to check. Now you can see that Git is installed on my computer. So now we need to commit everything we've written, because in collaborative software development, you will be writing systems and software with other people. So Git or version control system provides you with that capability that someone might be somewhere in America, you might be somewhere in Uganda, Massacre, and you can write on the same code. You can update the same code, but in different areas. That collaborative action is required in modern software development. So I'm going to show you how to commit whatever we've written to GitHub. So now we've identified that our system has Git installed. So here we are going to use the terminal. We shall run some Git commands, and we shall say git init initialize. So this has initialized a .git folder into my project folder. You can see it here. It is Git. Then you can see what do we have in the folder, or what do we need to commit. We can run a command using ls, and we shall use list all. Since my system cannot allow this command, my system cannot allow that command, but it is one of the commands we can use. Then let us check the Git status to check to see which files do we need to run. We can see that the Ndejje session.cs project here, Ndejje.sln, and the program.css, which houses our code. These are the files which we need to commit to GitHub. So how do you commit these files? You just run a command git add, then you can specify with a dot to take all the files to be committed to Git. So we are then committing. When we check again the status of our files, you see they are green. They are green. So those files are ready to be committed. I can clean the terminal. Then we can run a command git commit. We can use the flagged m to write some comment of this git commit. We can say initial commit. Initial commit. Then we place enter. So it shows that all these files will be committed to GitHub. Then we need to go to GitHub. So in here, you need to go to GitHub as a platform. So you need to be having an account on GitHub. You go to GitHub. So you can see I have an account on GitHub. Now we have to create a repository which will be having all our source code. And to create a repository on GitHub, you either come here on new, or you can tap something on this plus button here, but let us use this. We are creating a new repository. We shall call it NDU. We can give it a description if we like. We can make it public or private, but for the purpose of this session, I'll make it a public repository. Then you can add a README file. But for now, we might not add that. Then create a repo. Then you see GitHub provides us some commands here. If at all it is a new repository, these are the commands we run. But when you have a closer look at some of the commands we have, there is the git init, we previously ran that. We have the readme, the add.readme is where we added the command git add and the dot to add all the files. But for this, it only adds the readme file, so we don't need to add that. Then the commit, we've also ran that. Then we have to specify, we start from here to specify the branch we are committing this code. So we can copy this, we go back to our terminal, we can first clean it. Still we are running it, we are committing to that branch. Here we are specifying the branch. This flag, the capital M, helps us to do that. Then we go back, then we get this link to commit our code to a remote repository, because now our code is on a local repository. So we run that command git, press enter. Then lastly, the command we have to run is the push, and we have to specify the origin, which we need to add this code to the main repository. So when we paste in that, you see, and now here I can confirm that our code now can be accessed remotely using the GitHub repository we've created. When you come here and we refresh this, you can see whatever we've written is in this repository here. So that's a little bit about version control. I think for now, I don't know if you people have any other questions, but I think this is it for this Mentorship session.